topic.
Okay, before we present, so we're very nervous now, so I just hope you guys have a big applause for both of us.
基本上在我们的
giày cái kia nó hợp bộ thỉnh thình.
And 7 minutes for hot and cold. Stop now.
Okay, so on our way here, it would be, you may have seen some kind of this. Okay, well, it's kind of stressed, but similar. But why some of it just take it like a daily routine? But, sometimes think that only rural area, for that kind of people.
While you may wonder which group you belong to, I'll go ahead
Sao có
and
mỗi
show
tàu?
you. There's one thought that has never
Em gửi chị cái
crossed
bước.
your mind. The world is not overpopulated.
Okay, let's start. We have to define the overpopulation. So, David, what do you think? Overpopulation is that about the numbers?
No, I hardly think so. Overpopulation is more of a situation than just a large number. It only happens when the number of people exhausts resources in the closed environment, such that the environment can no longer support that population.
Interesting. So the underlying keyword, that very definition about overpopulation. So are you ready? Okay. First of all, is a food security. Since the time of Thomas Muller, who lived in the 18th century, predicted that the mankind outreach in food supply resulting in a catastrophic famine, and later the supporter of his said that the famine would devastate the mankind in 1970. But the fact is, he was sitting here, which means that it didn't happen. So the world is now producing enough food for 10 billion people, says by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization and the World Food Programs.
I could not agree more. The images of forced garden is really not because of food shortage, but it is indeed because of the uneven distribution.
Okay, so move on to our next point, is space. David, can I ask you a question? Do you think that we are running out of space?
No. I believe that this can be real subtle to say because we are so close to what we see here every day in the cities. Sometimes we even think what on earth people are recklessly appropriating. But we all know it gets deceptive what we see and what it really is. It is a promise that urban life in the cities help people from the countryside to go into the city, dive in deep, and they will be lured with high salary jobs, money, power, and so many other temptations. So people come from miles away from every imaginable direction to the city, leaving the rural area behind such a peaceful and quiet place.
Okay, we know that food and space are abundant, right? So I guess that other unrenewable resources such as fossil fuel, gas, coal will not pose any problem, right?
No, it would be stupid to think that we have plenty of those around to consume over the course of decades for all human beings. But it would be even more stupid to think that remaining the population at 2 billion will solve the problem of limited resources.
So it's now proven that overpopulation. Overpopulation is not the reason for our increasing gas bill, right?
Yes.
So it's about the overconsumption that we need to pay attention to. So move on to our final point. We would like all of you to see the bigger piece of the masterpiece, the exponential growth.
Take China, for example. Chinese women actively gave nearly 6 votes each in 1960, and now their fertility rate is only 1.7. And Vietnam, by just giving as much as an advice that each family should only have no more than 2 children, we managed to lower our fertility rate from 6.4 in 1960 to 1.8 in 2012. So the world population growth rate by no means is exponential.
Okay, so we have been proven that the overpopulation is not real. But according with the globalization crisis such as overconsumption, climate change, brain drain remains, and therefore require a global response, and one of which will likely to happen in the next 20 years is the third culture children refer to the children who was raised out of their parents' culture.
To best explain this, we will show you some examples of Vietnamese celebrities getting engaged with foreign partner. Let's take a look. Thus, Hùng, the singer, and her husband. There's Lan Jia, also a singer, and a family. Now, I would think that these children, like that little girl over there, will very much likely to face some challenges, right?
Yes, right.
Though embarrassed to say, but I have got to admit, because this is something I can really relate. These children may have no idea what their home country is, or no matter how hard they try to connect to it.
Yes.
Imagine if you are Vietnamese and half American as well, and you're born in England. So the answer is to, would you have loved at one of your parents' jobs? Is quite obvious, isn't it?
Yeah, that's quite an awkward situation, but I think that the third culture children still have some good thing, right?
Absolutely. Interpersonal sensitivity, cross-cultural enrichment, and multi-dimensional view of the world, and more.
Okay, now back to our topic. We have shown you that overpopulation hasn't happened yet, but it will cause a lot of things that may have a good thing, it may have a bad thing, that we need to take control of the speed of the overpopulation now.
Going home tonight, we'd like you to be more aware of what is really happening around us in terms of overpopulation.
Yeah, that's the problem. The problem is about the increasing of people. So if you are one of the LGBT communities, so the population decrease would have a huge thing for. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Bố lại này đứng gần đó.
Please watch the congratulations on your presentation. And now, what is our team to do?
Please, sorry, go ahead.
First of all, I want to say thank you for your very outstanding presentation. And of course, I think our population is one of the very hot issues nowadays. All nations around the world are facing that problem, but not every nation can effectively deal with that problem. And even, for example, in my neighbor, one lady, she's over 40 years old, and you know how many children she has? She now has 6 children, and one baby is expecting one baby, and the problem is actually the birth rate is very high in some specific continents like Africa and Asia. I mean, in developing countries, yeah. So how can and what is the solution to change someone's mind, like from very individual level to change their mind? Or
Sorry, you have to stop.
Why stop?
So what is the solution?
Okay, do you want to answer? So I want to give my opinion first. And now, you cannot ban someone from pregnant, right? For someone who already pregnant, you cannot
Sao lại tốt đẹp lắm tụi
ask her to give away, give up the baby. So I think that the way that the solution for that, you should show them the consequences of having so many babies. Just compare to their real situation. They're poor, right? They have a lot of kids and they have many bills to pay. So what if you have more children? You have to show them the consequence, and soon they will, realize the consequence and they will learn the lesson. That's my idea.
Always show them the consequence.
Why stop?
Sorry for interrupting. In Canada is a developed country, and for one.
Excuse me, can you speak slowly?
Okay, Canada is a developed country, and for 100 people in Canada, there are 21 people come from the outside, other countries. It's like in Hanoi and Beijing City, they are very busy city, and a lot of people like to go there to work, to find a job, to earn money. So the population is very high in specific countries in the countries. So infrastructure, even they increase a lot, but does not provide enough infrastructure to these numbers of people. So what do you think about it? Is it overpopulation for these cities?
Overpopulation population, as we have been advancing, not happening. So nowhere in the world.
You know that it's not about the number of people, it's about the people who would exhaust the resources from a country or from the world. It's not about the people in an area or in a country, you know?
So we would like to make it locally in the city. What do you think about that?
You know, like, it's not about just the number, yeah? It's about the resources being exact. So the solution to what?
Do you have any idea? Is it overpopulation in that city?
No. In nowhere in the world.
That we always want to expect their boy, the son, not daughter. So that is the reason why the population is raised. Because even if your family has a 4-year-old daughter, they still want to have more son, and maybe the big. So can we have some solution for this case?
Also, I would like to come back to show these people how to think less children. It's all about the consequences and the educational level. You should give those people the simple educational background. Having many children will cause you many other problems, and you don't mind that.
Thank you for the answer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Trước khi một lần nữa chúc mừng ban đội, và tôi phải nói thế này, khi mà nhìn thấy các bạn thuyết trình về cái topic của các bạn, tôi và chị Rose ở đây rất là tủi thân và đứng lên, bởi vì không ngờ các bạn tự tin và thuyết trình giỏi như vậy. Các bạn chính là những speaker tuyệt vời trong tương lai. Một tràng tay cho